Good morning. I am Mrs. Vijaya Lakshmi Ramakrishnan, tutor for physics. Today, I am going to cover the chapter Gravitation. Briefly, I'll run through how to access the revision notes and the test in the Clay6 website. The revision notes are nothing but the important things which you have to learn for the exams, NEET exams. For all the three subjects, we have summarized all the essential things which you need to know in a very comprised form. You can see for all the three subjects, the physics, chemistry, and biology, we have given all the important things which you have to know, the formulae, these small essential things which you have to, the small tips also. Based on that, we have also have the tests. So quickly, I'll tell you how to get into the access the revision notes and the test. First of all, go to the Clay6 website. This is the home page. There you can see the practice session. Yeah, click on that. Go to, you have several packages. Now you can select the NEET Premium. Click on that. You can see the revision notes here. Click on that. We have covered for all the topics, right from the class 11. It includes both class 11 and the class 12, right from the first chapter to the last chapter. You can see for all the subjects, for all the topics we have covered, and you can as well see the packages also and select your package. Today, I'm going to cover gravitation. What are the things you must know? First of all, exam point of view, this has got 1% weightage of 1%, so you can expect one question from this. So let's see what are the important things you should know. First of all, the must know. Must know is you should know all these, because based on Kepler's law, we can expect problems. So let us see what are the formulae we are going to cover using this Kepler's law. Kepler's law of planetary motion. Kepler's three laws of planetary motion can be stated as follows. All planets move about the sun in elliptical orbits, having sun as one of their foci. A radius vector joining any planet to the sun sweeps out equal areas in equal lengths of time. The squares of the period of revolution of the planets are directly proportional to the cubes of their mean distances from the sun. Or quickly you can say t squared is directly proportional to the r cubed, where t stands for time period and r is the radius of the planet. So the time period and the radius of the circular orbit, that is the not the radius of the planet, is going to be the radius of the orbit with which the planet is now going to be orbiting. So we can quickly put it as t squared is equal to 4 pi squared by g ms times r cubed, where 4 pi squared divided by g ms is now going to be a constant. G stands for the gravitation constant, m stands for the satellite, mass of the satellite or mass of the planet, you can put it that way. So m stands for the mass of the body. So 4 pi squared by g ms times r squared. Since it's a constant, you can directly say t squared is proportional to r cubed. Here, ms stands for the mass of the sun here. Okay, so because we are now going to be the time period is now going to be, or in other words, I can put it simply like this. Like say the planet is orbiting around the sun. So what will be the so here we are going to be considering the mass of the sun here, because it is the orbit. The planet is now going to be orbiting around the sun. So you can take this 4 pi squared by g ms, where ms is now going to be the mass of the sun. Most of the planets have nearly circular orbits around the sun, but we take it as elliptical only. For elliptical, the above equation is valid if r is replaced by the semi-axis a. So generally we take it as circular for calculation purposes, but if it is going to be taken as an elliptical orbit, then we can replace this R, instead of R, we can take it as the semi-major axis A. You know, the major axis, it is now going to be 2A. So here we can take it, instead of that, we can take it as the semi-major axis A. Right. Now coming to the Newton, next you have to know what is gravitation. Gravitation is nothing but the name of name given to the force of attraction acting between any two bodies of the universe. Okay. Now coming to the Newton's law of gravitation. This states that it's Newton's law of gravitation. It is now going to be more attractive in nature because we are here. The planets are now going to be it is now going to be the force of attraction here. So it states that the gravitational force of attraction between any two planets of masses m1 and m2 separated by a distance r has a magnitude of F is equal to g m1 m2 by r squared, where g stands for the gravitational constant, F is the force of attraction between the planets, m1 and m2. So in this case, we need not be the planets alone. It can be any universal bodies, any space, celestial bodies. You can take that way. So it is now going to be m1 m2 by r squared. So this law is stated to be universal because it holds good for all the particles in the universe. That is why it has been stated as the Newton's law of universal gravitation. So here m1 and m2 are going to be the masses of the two particles, and g is the universal gravitational constant, which has a value of 6.672 10 to the power of minus 11 n m squared kg to the power of minus 2, and the dimensional formula for g is given as m to the power of minus 1 L cubed t to the power of minus 2. So that is going to, this is now going to be the SI unit. So next, coming to the acceleration due to gravity. Before that, let us know what gravity is. Gravity is nothing but the force of attraction exerted by Earth towards the center, towards its center on a body lying on or near the surface of the Earth. So it is now going to be a force of attraction exerted by the Earth towards its center. Remember that. Gravity is a measure of the weight of the object. So this is not going to be purely dependent on the weight. Okay. So the weight of the body, you know, is nothing but mass times. So this is now going to be mass times acceleration due to gravity. So W is equal to mg. That's why in the previous lessons also we had put it as wherever force due to gravity was acting, the weight we had put it as mg. Remember, so we are now going to put the same thing here. So the weight of a body is nothing but mass times acceleration due to gravity, which is equal to mg. Unit of the weight of the body will be the same as that of the force because it's now going to be the force acting. So it is going to be in newtons. Acceleration due to gravity. Remember now the difference between the mass and weight. Mass is a scalar quantity, whereas weight is now going to be a vector quantity here. Vector is now means force or the weight is now going to be, you can describe it in newtons. So the SI unit for weight is going to be in newtons. Whereas the SI unit for mass is now going to be kg. Note the difference. So now coming to the acceleration due to gravity, the force of attraction exerted by the Earth on the body of mass m is the force of gravity. So you can simply put it as G is equal to, small g is for acceleration due to gravity and capital G is for gravitational constants. So that is equal to G into me by re squared, where me stands for the mass of the Earth and re stands for the radius of the Earth, which is equal to 4 pi rho, that is rho g re by 3. We are now going to take it as density. We are going to consider the density here. Let the density of the Earth be rho. If you take the density of the Earth to be rho, and now you know mass density is equal to mass per unit volume, or we are now going to calculate in the place of mass. I'm going to substitute density times volume. Volume, we are now going to take the Earth as a sphere, so that is why we have taken it as 4 by 3 pi r cube. So that is now going to be 4 by 3 rho g re cube. So that by re squared, that gets cancelled. So we get, the result is g times 4 by 3 pi rho g re. So this is now going to be the value, and it's going to be the value has been Having known all the values, we can calculate, we have calculated and arrived at the answer as 9.8 near the equators. Of course, it varies at different places. So let us now see how it is now, how this variation occurs. Variation of acceleration due to gravity is can be due to the rotation of the Earth. Now see, now let us consider a particle P at rest on the surface of the Earth at latitude phi. So it is given as G phi is equal to G minus Re omega squared cos squared phi, where omega is now going to be the angular rotation and phi we saw it is going to be the angle at the latitude phi. So G phi is now going to be G, where G is going to be the acceleration due to gravity, minus Re is now going to be the radius of the Earth, omega is angular acceleration. When we go down deep into the Earth, say at a depth of D below the Earth's surface, then it is given as G dash is equal to G times Re minus D by Re. If it is now going to be above the Earth, height h above the Earth, then G dash is equal to G times 1 minus 2h by Re. So these are the important formulae you'll have to remember, because we'll be getting problems related to this. That time, if you are now thorough with the formula, you can as well directly get the data. What is the data given? Analyze quickly which formula you have to apply, whether it is now going to be deep into the Earth, Earth's at a depth from D below the Earth's surface, or it is now going to be above the Earth's surface. Quickly analyze and then apply the formula. Next, coming to the gravitational field. See, like these are the important tips you'll have to remember, so that when you analyze and read the question once or twice, because it is now, these exams are now going to be time constrained. Again, and I'm telling, it's all going to be time constrained. So you will have to manage your time smartly. Here, the smart work is now going to play an important role. So, however, you have worked hard and you have prepared so very well, but at this time, it is the smart work which is now going to play. So, remember, you'll have to analyze the problem. Quickly, you'll have to analyze the problem, apply the formula. You'll have to immediately think, okay, these are the data given. What should I do? I have to apply this formula. Okay, let me apply this. These are the things where you have to, where you can make use of these classics revision notes. It's really going to be handy for you. Okay? Now coming to the gravitational field, the region of space around a body in which its gravitational influence is experienced by other bodies is the gravitational field of the body. So if I say EG, E is now going to be the gravitation due to the with respect to that of the Earth, which now that is now going to be given. Say, for example, it's simply the acceleration due to gravity. Okay, so that is equal to F by m. You know that. So that is equal to now the force is now going to be due to the gravitational force. So G m m by r squared. In the place of F, substitute G m m by r squared into divided by m, which is nothing but G m by r squared. So problems related to this also can be expected. So that was how 9.8 has been calculated. Again, coming to escape velocity, this is very, very, very important. Problems related to this can be asked. So Vg is the escape velocity, which is equal to root over 2gme by Re. Or you can simply put it as root of 2g Re, where Re stands for the radius of the Earth, me stands for the mass of the Earth, g for gravitational constant, Ve is now going to be the escape velocity. So now you know the previous gravitation g is equal to gm by r squared, right? So we have, you can substitute it here and simply write it as root of 2g Re. Now here you'll have to analyze. When the problem is given, you'll have to see, you have two formula for escape velocity. Look into the data, what are the values given? Accordingly, you'll have to select your formula. So that has been found to be, having applied all the values, it has been found out to be 11.2 kilometers per second squared, per second, kilometers per second. So next, coming to orbital velocity, V0, let a satellite revolves round the Earth of mass m in circular orbit of radius r with speed V0. Let the speed be V0, velocity be V0. Then V0 is equal to root of Gm by R. So problems related to satellite also can be asked. So in that cases, you'll have to remember these formula. V0 is equal to root of Gm by R. And if you're asked to find out the velocity, V0, or you can also apply this formula, R is equal to, V0 is equal to R times root of G by R plus H, where H is now going to be the height above the earth. Okay. So R is root of G by R plus H, where H is now going to be the, so you have two formula for V0. Again, we'll have to decide what is the data given, analyze, and then quickly apply the formula. Next, coming to the, finally, the period of revolution. Period of revolution T is given as 2 pi root of R cubed by Gm. So R is now going to be the radius, G is now going to be the gravitational constant, and M is now going to be the mass of the object or the particle. So we have briefly went through all the important formulae which you have to apply for this lesson. Now let us, using this, we will go to the problems which can be solved related to this. So what you do is go back to the basic site, having accessed all the, having made thorough of all the revision notes related to this lesson, quickly go on to physics. So you have all for tests for all the three subjects, physics, chemistry, and biology. You have lots of tests and need full tests also. Once you are thorough with all the concepts chapter wise, each and every formula you are now thorough, you can as well go to the need full tests also. Click on physics. You have chapter wise tests. The green bubble says you have already taken the test. Blue bubble says you have not taken the tests, and the red bubble is the random test which you can take. And then the yellow bubble is the half completed, incomplete tests which you can. So it means even though you have taken the test once, you can take it any number of times. See, if you're not thorough with the concept, you can quickly access your results. Okay, I am not done with this chapter. I am not satisfied with my results. Let me go through the revision notes again. Let me make thorough with the formula. What are the concepts related to this? Let me go through that once again. Again, quickly come back to the test. You can take the test any number of times. So we have the chapter wise tests here. Now, since we are going to do gravitation, I am clicking on the first test, gravitation. So take test, go to test. All right. The density of Earth increased 4 times and its radius becomes half of what it was. Then our weight will be 4 times its present value, be double, be unchanged, that is, it remains the same, or be halved. Let us quickly solve this. It's now, we already saw in the revision notes that G is proportional to R. G is equal to rho R, you know that, where rho is going to be the density. So, but rho density is now going to be a constant. So you can say G purely depends upon the radius, right? So G is the density and R is the radius. So now you know W is equal to mg. Now W dash is equal to m dash G dash. So therefore now let us calculate G by G dash, which is equal to rho R by 4, because he says the density is increasing, multiplied by 4, and the radius is reduced by half. So R by 2. Now we can quickly cancel. Rho gets cancelled. R gets cancelled. 2. So it is now going to be, so W dash by W is now going to be, it is now, so G by G dash is now going to be 1 by half. So therefore W dash is equal to 2 times that. Let's see which option is correct. Option B is correct. B doubled, he says. Okay, save that. Go to the next. An iron ball and wooden ball of same radius are released from a height h in volume in vacuum. The time taken by both of them to reach the ground is what? Now, you know the time of descent is now going to be t is equal to root of 2h by t. Since no other forces are now going to act in vacuum, time of descent is now going to be the same for all the objects. So it is now going to be exactly equal. So we can see it is now going to be exactly equal. B option is correct. So go to the next. The angular speed of Earth is double. The value of acceleration g at North Pole doubles, becomes half, remains the same, becomes 0. Now at the poles, the acceleration due to gravity is not affected by the angular acceleration of the Earth. Remember this. It is not at the poles. Acceleration is not acceleration due to gravity g is not affected by the angular acceleration of the Earth. So we can say it is now going to remain the same. Right. Click that. Save that. Go to the next. The density of a newly discovered planet is twice that of the Earth. The acceleration due to gravity at the surface of the planet is equal to that at the surface of the Earth. If the radius of the Earth is r, then the radius of the planet will be what? So the density is twice. Acceleration due to gravity at the surface of the planet is equal to the surface of the Earth, he says. And the radius is equal to that of the Earth. So having known all the data, now let us quickly solve this. Now, you know, G is equal to 4 by 3 pi rho g r. So we are making use of this formula. So Rp by Re, that is what is needed to be calculated, which is equal to, now you know, when you substitute, he says that is nothing but Gp by Ge times rho e by rho p, which is nothing but going through the data. We can simply substitute. It is now going to be the same. He says so 1 Gp is equal to Ge, so that is now going to be 1 times, this is now going to be half, so just put it as 1 by 2. So Rp is equal to Re by 2, or which is equal to, simply since the radius are same, you can put it as R by 2. Let's see which option is correct. R by 2, D option is correct. Now coming to the fifth question. In the gravitational field, at the point where the gravitational potential is 0, gravitational field is necessarily 0. It may not, nothing can be said of it. Gravitational field is always positive. Right. Gravitational field is given by dV by dx, where V is called as, where V is the gravitational potential. Okay, so that is now going to be more of a potential gradient, you can say. Now, since the potential is 0, that means V is 0, the gravitational field is also 0. So V is 0, so gravitational field is necessary. It is now going to be gravitational field is 0. So option A is correct. Like that, go to the next. Gas escapes from the surface of a planet because it acquires escape velocity. For escape velocity, we looked into, we had two formulae. Quickly decide what is the question, what is being asked, what you have to apply. So the escape velocity will depend on the mass of the planet, mass of the particle escaping, temperature of the planet, radius and the planet. Right. Escape velocity VE is equal to root over 2 gm by r. So you can as well see that it is going to depend on the mass and the radius of the planet. So it is directly proportional to the square root of mass and inversely proportional to the square root of radius. So that means it is now going to be dependent on mass and radius. So that means option, it is mass of the planet and the radius of the planet. So 1 and 4. So option B is correct. Let us save that. Going to the seventh one. The value of escape velocity on a certain planet is 2 kilometers per second. Then the value of orbital velocity or orbital speed for a satellite orbiting close to its surface is 1. All right. So the velocity is now going to be, the orbital velocity is now going to be given by, you can say, is escape velocity divided by 2. So escape velocity divided by root 2. Let me put it as VO, that is the orbital velocity. Orbital velocity VO is given by VE by root 2, or V0 is equal to, here it's given as 2, right? So 2 by root 2, or which is equal to root 2 kilometers per second. Root 2 kilometers per second. D option is correct. Click that. Go to the next. A satellite moves in a circle around the Earth. The radius of this circle is equal to 1/2 of the radius of the moon's orbit. The satellite completes 1 revolution in. All right. Time period of the revolution of the moon around the Earth is now said to be 1 lunar month. When it goes once around the Earth, we call that as the lunar month. Now, by Kepler's law, we saw that time period is proportional to r raised to the power of 3 by 2. So, because we saw t to the power of 1 by 3 is equal to, or you can put it, t to the power of 1 by 3 is proportional to, t to the power of 1 by square is equal to, or, I'm sorry, let us quickly go to the notes and see. What did we see here? By Kepler's law. Kepler's law states that you can see t squared is proportional to r cubed, right? So now quickly substitute that. T squared is proportional to r cubed, or taking square root on both sides, I'll get it as t is proportional to r raised to the power of 3 by 2. This is how I got it. So now let us take TS, that is for satellite, and TM for moon, which is equal to RS by RM raised to the power 3 by 2. But that is given as half, right? RS by RM is given as half. So, which is nothing but half raised to the power of 3 by 2, which is, so this implies TS is equal to 2 raised to the power of minus 3 by 2 lunar month. Let's see which option is correct. The satellite, time period of the satellite is now going to be 2 raised to the power of minus 3 by 2. 2 raised to the power of minus 3 by 2. So option D is correct. Save that. Go to the next. A planet moves around the sun at a given point P. It is closer from the sun at a distance d1, and the speed is v1 at that time. At another point Q, when it is farther away from the sun at a distance of d2, what will the speed be? So when it is closer to the sun, the planet is going around the sun. When it is at the closer point, it is now going to have at a distance of d1, that speed is v1. But when it is farther away from the sun, that point is given as Q. At that time, the distance is d2. What will be d2 is asking. This is quite simple. We'll have to make use of the angular momentum also, which we studied earlier. So angular momentum is now going to be the same. It is now going to be the constant. So we can now quickly put it as m1 v1 d1 is equal to m2 v2 d2. Or from this it implies v2 is equal to d1 d1 by d2. d1 by d2. Let's see which option is correct. d1 by d2. Option B is correct. Take that. Go to the next. Two planets have same average density, but their radii are r1 and r2. If acceleration due to gravity on these planets are g1 and g2 respectively, which can be the correct option? This is quite simple. Now g is given by 4 by 3 pi rho g r. He says rho is a constant. That means the other components which are going to be the variable are now going to be g1 by g2 will be equal to r1 by. So g and r are going to be varying. So you can put g1 by g2 is equal to r1 by r2. Let's see which option is correct. Yes, first option is correct. Save that. Go to the next. For a planet moving around the sun in an elliptical orbit, which of the following quantities remain constant? Total energy of the sun planet system, the angular momentum of the planet about the sun, the force of attraction between the two, linear momentum of the planet, which is now going to be the constant. Total energy of the planet sun system and the angular momentum of the planet, they always remain a constant. Remember, in a planet, the angular momentum of the planet is always a constant. But force of attraction and linear momentum, they are not constant. Remember that, they are not constant. Force of attraction and linear momentum are not constant. So we can put it that, say, force of attraction and linear momentum. Force of attraction between the two and the linear. So 3 and 4. 3 and 4. So B option is correct. We can quickly save that and go to the next question. Two satellites have their masses in the ratio 3:1. The ratio of the orbit are 1:4. Then the ratio of their total mechanical energy is what? Already we saw total mechanical energy is nothing but the sum of the potential energy and kinetic energy. So let's see. Okay. E is given as minus gmm by 2r. So if E1 is equal to minus of g m, or I can simply put the ratio itself directly because g and g will get cancelled. Now the masses are now going to be m1 and m2. And the respective radii are given by r1 and r2. So I can quickly put it as E1 by E2 is equal to, I'll directly put this. So it is now going to be, let me put it again. So given that E is equal to minus gmm by 2r. So mass m1 has a radii of r1 and mass m2 has a radii of r2. Okay. So therefore E1 by E2, when you divide one over the other, obviously g and 2 will get cancelled. So I'll be left with m1 by r1 is equal into r2 by m2. This will reciprocate. So you'll get it as r2 by m2. Now quickly substitute what is being given here. You can see it is in the ratio 3:1. The masses are in the ratio 3:1 and the ratio, the radii are in the ratio 1:4. So quickly substitute that. So that is now going to give you 3 by 1 times 4 by 1, which is equal to 12:1. Let's see which option is correct. 12:1. First option is correct. Click that. Go to the next. A simple pendulum has a time period t1 when on Earth's surface and t2 when it is taken to a height r above the Earth's surface, where r is the radius. Then what is t2 by t1? It's quite simple. Just apply the simple pendulum formula. So now it's given as g2 by g1 is equal to r1 squared by r2 squared. Right? If r1 is equal to r and r2 is equal to 2r, then g2 substitute the values, then it becomes g2 by g1 is equal to r squared by 4r squared, which is nothing but 1 by 4. Now you know T is equal to 2 pi root of L by G. Therefore, T2 by T1 will be equal to root over G1 by G2, which is nothing but root of 4, right? Root of 4, which is equal to 2. Let's see which option is correct. 2. The option is correct. Click that. Go to the next. If the radius of Earth were to shrink by 1%, its mass remaining the same value of G on the Earth's surface would be, how much would it increase? Listen, children, it's a very important question. It has been repeated quite often in many papers. So, listen carefully how I'm solving this. Of course, it's quite easy also. G is Gm by R square. So, a small difference in the change in acceleration, let me take it as dg by g, the error, okay? That is now going to be equal to minus 2 dr by r, where that is now going to be dr by r is the error in the radius, and this is now going to be, or increase or decrease in radius, and same way dg is now going to be the, dg by g is going to be the increase percentage of the gravitation, okay? So now it is given dr by r is given as 1%, right? So now substitute it here, then you get it as dg by g is equal to minus 2%. Negative sign indicates that g is decreasing by 2%, okay? So it is decreasing by 2%. So option D is correct. Click that. Go on to the next. A rocket is launched with velocity 10 kilometers per second. If the radius of the Earth is r, then maximum height attained by it will be what? Let's solve this. Read the question carefully again. A rocket is launched with velocity. So rocket's velocity is given as 10 kilometers per hour, and the radius of the Earth is taken as r. What will be the maximum height attained by the rocket? All right. So now you know, at a particular height, kinetic energy is equal to the potential energy of the body. Okay. So that means kinetic energy is given by half mv squared is equal to the potential at this particular height. So if this is now going to be the Earth, it is now going to be at this height r. Sorry, this is now going to be r, and this is now going to be at a height h. Let me put this as point P. This is now going to be, so obviously the distance is now going to be r plus h. So mgh is the potential energies formula. You know that? Substitute that, so that gives you mg r plus h. mg r plus h. Now you know v squared, v is equal to root of 2gh, right? So v squared is equal to 2g. In the place of h, I'll put it as r plus h here. After, you can cancel m and m, take this 2 there, then you get it as mg, v squared is equal to 2g times r plus h. That means when height is a maximum, or in other words, I can say h is now going to be the maximum height reached by the satellite. Now look into the values given. It is now given by 10 kilometers. So substitute the values, then you can easily write it as, so 10 into 5 by 8, the whole square, because here 5 by 18, 5 by 18, we are converting it as kilometers per hour, right? I'm converting it to meters per second into 10 to the power of 6 into 10 to the power of 6 is equal to 2 into g we have taken as 10 times r plus h. We don't know the radius of the Earth. Had they given the value of r plus h, no, if he says r plus h is equal to, you can now solve this and find out r to be equal to, r plus h is equal to 5r. r plus h is equal to 5r, where r you know is nothing but, or h is equal to 4 times r. Okay, 4 times r, but r is given as 6.4. So if you know the value of the, I mean, all this will be given earlier. So if r's value is 6.4 times 10 to the power of 6 meters, so using that, Later on, you can find out that H is equal to 4R. Now look quickly. B option is correct. Save that. Now we have completed the test. End the test. The results are loading. 2 answers were incorrect. Let us see. You can as well refer 12 answers. The green one says the answers are correct. One is unanswered. Oh, maybe I didn't click it. Yeah, I didn't save it. You have to save and then go to that. So I didn't click on that. So it was unanswered. It says unanswered. So let us quickly see what was incorrect in the 11th question. So 11th question. For a planet moving around the sun in an elliptical orbit, which of the quantities remain constant? Total energy of the sun-planet system, the angular momentum of the planet around the sun, the force of attraction between the two, linear momentum of the planet. So we had said that 3 and 4 are correct, but the correct answer is the total energy of the sun-planet system and the angular momentum. Let's quickly see to the explanation part. Scroll down, you can see the explanation part here. Total energy of the planet-sun system and the angular momentum remains a constant, but the force of attraction and the linear momentum are not constant. All right. So our answer is A is correct and this is not correct. I deliberately went wrong so that I just wanted to show you where how you can access the wrong answers also. How you can get back to your wrong answers, verify it and get the explanation. That's why I did it. Okay. So next is 14th question. Let's see. If the Earth were to shrink by 1%, its mass remaining same, the value of G on the Earth's surface would increase by 2%, it says. That is the correct answer. But I had said it is 2%. So let's look to the explanation part. So dg by g is equal to minus 2 dr by r. So dr by r is equal to minus 1%. Actually, it should have been correct. So g increases by 2%. So he says B is the correct answer. So option B is correct. So I went wrong there. So it should have been. So since it is a decrease, you need not bother about the negative thing. So it should have been G increases by 2%. So R is decreasing. R is decreasing as R increases, G decreases, right? Or they are inversely proportional to each other. So it should have been G increases. So this is where children you have to be very careful. See, yeah, you'll be carried away. What is it being asked? He is asking what will be the value of G? How will G increase or decrease? So we have actually calculated for R and told that R is decreasing. So we calculated for G, but since we were taken away by the negative symbol here, so we said that G is decreasing. No, G and R are inversely proportional, so G should increase, right? So these are the simple tips you'll have to remember. So G and R are proportional. So since R is decreasing, G should be increasing. So B should have been the correct answer. That is where I went wrong. So this is how you can access your wrong answers also. You can verify. You can verify them. You can get the explanation part, close it. You can go back. Okay, I didn't do this until or otherwise you get the entire full percentage of marks from this. You can take the test any number of times. Go to the revision test, make yourself clear again of all the concepts. Then again, you can take the test again. So likewise, we have so many other tests also. So you can as well see, you have again, so we were still in the first test only. So since we went, two of my questions were wrong. So I want to get 100%. So I'll go to the NEET revision notes. I'll make myself thorough with all the concepts again, and then go to this test again, make myself thorough. I'll take this test and get 100%. Until or otherwise I get 100% from this test, I can take it any number of times and then go to the second test. So likewise, you can make use of the tests and the NEET revision notes from Play 6. So is there any questions to be asked, children? Swapna?